understanding along with Studio Web. And also we'll just see some small use case, how we can extract the information from the PDF and put it into any web portals. Like we can see the UI automation of how the studio work as well. And so when it comes to Studio Web, like it was came up with the motto of cloud first automation, cloud first UI path automation, and which will allow to work on multiple class platforms. And now, like there are many queries from the people who are using Mac and Linux, like how to install UiPath Studio onto Mac or how we can use it. Now we don't have any dependency on the OS. Whatever might be the OS you are using, if you can able to access the browser, you can implement UiPath automations with the help of Studio Web. Because you don't need to install anything on your machine, and there is no dependency. It's absolutely zero infrastructure dependent. And browser, which can like Chrome or Edge on your machine, you can directly build your automations and execute the automations. And the execution of the automations with the help of whatever we develop using Studio Web will be executed with the serverless robots. Like it's just in-time robots. Like it will be running on a cloud server. Like we can see that in a tab in the browser itself. And when it comes to the connectors, like when we see about any RPA tools, like we will be ending up with a shortage of connectors, like if they are not available. And as we have custom activities, which we can create ourselves, like based on the requirement for UiPath Studio, in a similar way, we can create our own custom connectors also for Studio Web. Almost all of the what do you call, like cloud-based platforms or web applications, we have the connectors, and if not, like we can build our own. And generally, how the Studio Web originated is like Studio Web and integration service came to UiPath family after the acquisition of cloud elements. Um, like UiPath integration services. So we already aware of like time-based trigger and queue-based triggers, like to start our processes. So in case if we want to start with the event-based, like as soon as any new email received on mailbox or something is changed in any of the applications. So if you want to start a process, we can leverage that with the help of integration services. So that actually the starts with the event-based. And what we can say is like integration service is a backbone or main pillar for Studio Web because if you want to connect with any of the applications or cloud platforms or any mailboxes or anything, so we will be doing that connections in the integration service and we will be using that in the Studio Web. Also, like for creating the custom connectors for Studio Web, that integration service is going to facilitate us like to build our own custom connector and reutilize that in the Studio Web. So what we will do is like in this session, we are going with a use case that like we'll be sending an email, an invoice into an email, and we'll be retrieving that email. And after extraction, we will be putting that into any of our ERP applications. In case of it is any cloud-based or web-based applications, in case we will be doing like because I don't have any access to that application. So what I have done is like I created a Google form. So whatever we extracted the information that we are going to put it in the Google, so that like we can see both the document understanding and the UI capabilities of Studio Web as well. But we have one limitation here for the Studio Web. We cannot interact with the desktop applications as of now. There might be a way, or like there might be their roadmap, but I'm not sure about it. But this is completely a cloud-based automation, or like we can interact with any of the web browsers, web applications, or like cloud applications. So let us get into the Studio Web and let us start with our automation.
sets of things. I would like to differentiate how the Studio is different from Studio Web. Workflows you build or whatever scripts you write on Studio. It's a platform or a tool which we use to write scripts or workflows to automate any task or to automate any process that we want to, right? So that is the tool provided by us. It's a kind of a designer tool that we use, right? Now the major difference between Studio and Studio Web is uh, Studio you can trigger or create a schedule basis queue is something which we use for transactional based process. And there is another trigger which we have in UiPath is of time based or schedule based. Let's say, for example, I want to run a process of payment others to my employees at the end of each month. So that's a time based thing. At the end of each month, I need to run it at 12 in the morning, right? So that I can make my payments to all my employees. So that's a sort of time based trigger. And others we have like if you are working in the banks, right? So you need to run just and all once in every week or once fortnightly, something of that sort, which uh, which also is a time-based trigger that you do. Right? Now coming to Studio Web has breaking all the barriers that Studio has. Instead of having it on time-based, it now has the capability of starting a job or starting an automation on an event base. Like whenever you receive an email, the moment you start that automation, read the email, process it, and complete the task. Or whenever you have a file uploaded from a batch, right? After running a batch, you have batches, predefined batches that runs overnight and create some files for you, right? So on creation of that batch file or the output of the batch file, you want to trigger an automation that can be done with the UiPath Studio Web automations. And alongside with that, if you want to, whenever you have any ticket created, yeah, if you want to have an action taken on that ticket, right? You can do that. You do this or on like let's say for example, I have a ticket created at night in the 12 and I want that to be completed in some half an hour's time. I can't keep my robot running for every half an hour to check whether there is a ticket created or not and waste my robot's productivity or maximum utilization, right? So instead of that, with this event triggers, what we can do is the productivity of the robot will be increased more than we usually have, correct? So if I have my robot processing on an action or a ticket for 5 minutes, I can't keep my robot scheduled as in per block for every 30 minutes to check that thing, right? So whenever I have an action to be performed by my robot, I can trigger it and then complete my task. And for the rest of the time, I can use it for another automation, correct? So that's the reason why we have Studio Web, and that's it.
Thanks, Sudhir. Uh, so how we can access UiPath Studio Web is like we need to log into our cloud platform, UiPath Automation Cloud Platform. And on the left side, we can see Studio. So here we can see Studio, and it might not be available for many. Like I got some requests that like they could not able to see the Studio Web in their automation platform because if we open this, here we have preview, which means like it is not as of now it is not in the general availability. So in case if you want to access this Studio Web, you need to sign up for UiPath Insider. So once you sign up, you register for this UiPath Insider. So you will get all the access to, or like you'll be getting access to the applications when they are in the preview, or like before it was available in the market. We can access those applications and we can try it out. So we need to register for this program in order to get the access to UiPath Studio Web. or any products of UiPath which are in the preview before the release. So to start with the process, like there is two options here, like we can start directly the process here itself, or like we can import a project like which is already developed. And let us go ahead and create the process. So like in the similar way, like how we are going to do in the studio in the similar way. But one additional thing, what we need to select here is like we need to select whether it is like you want to run it manually or you want to run it like based on the time or like based on some event. So for now, I'm going with the manual. So this is the interface, like once we create the project, we will be getting it. In case if we do like a trigger, like here, it will be asking, like if you are selecting the event based, it will be asking, like as soon as the email is received, new email is received on the mailbox. In that way, we are going to get here. So here are the packages or activities what we have for the Studio Web. And in UiPath Studio, we need to go to the manage packages and we need to install the packages if we want to utilize any of the activities under those packages, right? But here it is not necessary for us to install any package or like to go somewhere and get the packages. As soon as we select any activity, it will be automatically installed. So now what I want to do is like I want to get the latest email, and this is the invoice which we are considering to extract the information. So it is on the latest email. So what I'll do is like I just need to get the email from the Office 365. So if you go, like we have almost all the connectors available. So here is the Office 365 activities. So from here, I just need to get the new email, right? So get newest email. So I'll just select this. So now it is getting installed, like the package is getting installed by, as soon as like we select one activity from any of the packages, the whole package will be installed. So we can expand this and see, I already have the connector. So let me just remove this connector and let us recreate the connector again. So go to the various connections. So now it is navigating to the integration services. So all the connectors are like, these two will work together. Let me delete this. See, why I got this name is because I directly clicked here and I just connected to that mailbox. Let me delete this. So now I don't have any connections. Yeah, it is not nowhere related to your local systems. It is completely on web based. I just remove this and let me print again. So that's what I'm saying. Like it will work together with the integration services. If we see the integration services, right, we have a lot of connectors here. So we will configure our connector. Like for the mailbox, we can connect here, right? So I can connect here. I can add the connection here, and that will get reflected there. And there are two ways to connect here. Like we can directly click on connect now here itself, so that it will navigate us to the login page of Microsoft Outlook. And what we can do alternatively is like let us see this. So it will navigate to the Outlook to directly log in so that the connection will be established. If I select this, the connection will be all automatically established. So what I want to do is, instead of that, I'm going to create a connection here in the integration service, And let us see how it will get reflected. So here also it will navigate here, and we can just click on this. Now it is getting loaded. Connections got added here. And let me rename this. Sorry, enter. So now it has got renamed. So I just added the connector in the integration service. And if we come back here, select it here. So now I have both, which is configured now itself from here and whatever I created in the integration service as well. Now still we have the error because we just need to configure the folders. So whatever the folders we have in the mailbox, everything will get reflected here. Just need to select the inbox. Save. And if we see the additional options, the properties almost similar to what we have in the UiPath Studio activities itself. Like whether you want to take, like whether you want to consider the shared mailbox or with attachments, include attachments, or only unread mails or not. So we have everything like similar to what we have in the UiPath Studio activities itself. And in case if we have any output for any activities we are using in the Studio Web, the outputs will be automatically generated by the activity itself. And we'll see how we can use this invest email is generated. So we can rename the activities as well. We need to check for the attachments. Attachments. So the email we need to configure. So for that, we just need to return this plus symbol in order to select the variable. We just need to click on this use variable in order to see what are the available variables we have. And from here, we just expand this activity, then we can see the variable what we have, what this activity has generated. So under this, we are just taking email. We are taking the mail object. And we can filter what type of extension files you want to download, like only PDF or Excel or something. So we can put that condition here and see this, like this is an additional thing which is got added, exclude inline attachments. If we see on the email, some people will be sending the images embedded into the emails. When we retrieve the email from the mail object, even that also will be considered as an attachment. So now we can exclude that from here. So this generates the download attachment list. So we can use the same variable or whatever the output is getting generated by these activities, right? We can save that to another variable also. Then we can create a global variable and we can save that to that variable and we can utilize that instead of like going to each activity and getting the things. So for now, like we'll just keep it as it is. And now we'll be using for each activity because the attachments is a kind of list, right? And we just need to provide the variable. And it is under the download attachments and we'll take the list. So we can just rename this like in the similar way, like how we are going to do in the our studio for each activity. So now for each file, we want to extract the information from the document. So we need to use extract. Extract document data. We are just selecting this. So now we need to configure this. Like we can use either the existing model, document model, or like custom model, whatever we developed. So for now, we are going with the existing already pre-trained model by the UiPath. So like in case if we have any custom models, we'll be getting that list under this. Once we select the predefined, like we'll be getting the predefined and whatever the custom models available for us. So once we select this predefined, and it will give an option to select the extractor. So whatever is already predefined in the AI center, UiPath AI center, where like we'll be having the models, pre-trained models, which will be ready for us to extract the information. So here we will be selecting the invoices, and we need to give the input file. Input file is file. So now we submitted all the files and all, and if we expand this, we'll see like whatever the output it is getting generated. If you want more layer values, like we can train our model with more values, and that will return us the all the values whatever it is having. So these all are the variables. Like it will be generated under this activity. In case if you wanna save it to some other, let us save this to a variable. So we just need to create the variable name here. We can define the scope also. For now, it is global because we are not using any sequence under this, and we can define the type in a similar way like how we are doing in the studio. So there is no much difference, and we can give the default value. I'm not giving any default values here. Great. So now whatever the value got extracted, it will be saved under this variable, and now we can directly use this variable instead of like uh, going to each activity and checking out like what that activity is getting generating the variables. So after this, I just want to write a log message just to see like whether my automation is working as expected or not. So the advantage with this Studio Web is like we can do all the things, like we can interact with the assets, we can get assets as well. Though we are not using any assets, I'm just want to showcase that like we can get the assets, we can set the assets, like we can get the credentials, and we can get the transaction items as well. So we can do almost everything like what we are doing with the studio, but except the desktop automation. So we'll be going with the log message. So in the similar way, like we'll be having log level and what we want to write. I just want to put vendor name. So directly I got the vendor name, like, or else like what I need to do is I need to go to this extract document data, and I need to search for each thing, and I need to select that. So instead of that, in case if we are creating a variables, we can directly get this. And I want only the vendor name, not the length. So I'll be taking that. And let us execute this and see like how it is working out. So we can see the logs here in the runtime. See the visualization also, which activity is running here. So now it is working on the document, extract document data. So this is the vendor name. And we can download the logs and we can see that in the text file also. Like all the other logs which are got generated of the tracing, and this is information. Whatever the log message we kept, right? This is an informative. So now we are writing this vendor name, right? So I just want to write, if we see here, extract document data, the last we have extraction result. Like it will be giving us in the key value page. Like whatever the complete information it is extracting, it will give us in the key value page. So in the log message, I want to use this extraction result instead of like each field. I want to see like whatever it is getting extracted, whatever it is extracting, right? So I just want to see the everything. For that, we'll use this UG variable and we'll navigate to extract document data and we'll select this extraction result. Automatically, it keeps that into a for loop. So let us execute and see. The execution is completed. Let me download the logs. So this is how it looks. This is the information which my model extracted the information. So now, like we done with like how we can utilize the existing model and like extract the information from the PDF. And now let us get into like how we can input this data into the Google form. So I'm just removing this for each loop. And let us input all this information over there. So for this, like we need to use the browser. So when we are doing for the first time with this UI automation, it will ask for us to install the Chrome extension, web automation extension. See, with the studio, it is Chrome extension, and this is with the web automation extension. Both are two different things. So the same, it is a different extension, not the same extension. And one, as soon as like we have that extension installed, it will ask us to select the tab. So whatever the tabs available, everything will be visible here. And in case if I open YouTube, if I click it, like I got the YouTube again. So it will show us like what in which tab we want to work. So I want to work on Studio Web AP process. Once we select that, it will show us like which tab it is, and it will get all the information from there. And now we can use our activities to interact with that application or a web portal. So now we want. Yeah.
Is it necessary that it should be in the same?
Yes, it needs to be in the same browser. No, when it is running, it is not required, but when you are developing, it needs to be open. Yeah. We'll see that like it will be in a console. We can expand that console to the new tab and we can see that as well. And we can even take the control of that virtual like in time VM kind of thing, and we can see that. See, for development, we need to open it. But when execution is happening, it is not necessary for us. It will take the, see, when we are executing this, it will create its own instance or VM instance for that execution time. So it will ask, let me do one thing then. Let me just remove this. Let me go to the extension and see here we have two things, right? UiPath Web Automation, two extensions are there. So let me go to this manage extensions and let me remove this. This is for the this is for the Studio Web and this is for the Studio. Let me remove this extension. Just come here. This project. Just refresh this. See, we are dealing with the selectors, so there is no problem of like taking care of the resolutions and all. So it's like because we are dealing with the web applications, right? Like not the Citrix or like image based. So when we are going with the selectors, the resolution doesn't matter. Sorry?
Are the options with the selectors?
Yes, we will be having. See, it will be completely similar to what we have in the modern design of UiPath Studio. Yes. Now it is asking me to like install the extension. I removed the extension, so now it is asking me to install the extension. So when once I click on this, so now we added the extension. Business extension. Web automation extension. Like to interact, like for Studio to interact with the web browsers. Yeah. Plugin which will allow. We have the similar kind of Google Chrome extension in UiPath Studio, right? In the similar way, we need this for Studio Web. See, when we are doing the development, right? Like if you want to automate your things on the edge, you just need to open your Studio Web in the edge. So in the same instance, the same like website, whatever we are working on, right? In the same instance, we need to access that website. We need to just kept it open when we are doing the development. So if you want to automate your things on Edge, you just need to open your Studio on the Edge. If you want to automate on Chrome, you need to open that your Studio Web on Chrome. So redevelopment is not required. I'm not very sure about it, but what I'm thinking is there is an option to import your process. So we may give a try that like we can import that into the Edge, and we can just need to install that plugin over there. Yes. Like it will execute in a separate instance console. Like it will be kind of like a one time VM kind of thing. Like when we are working on Citrix, like as soon as like we want to access any VM, the available VM will be allocated to you, right? So like there is something called as cloud robots, right? Serverless robots we see in orchestrator. So it will execute this process on that serverless robot. So it will just have an instance at that particular time when it is executing. Yeah. So now I just need to select the tab, web process automation. And we are not, it's not necessary for us to identify or something when it comes to the browser activity or like in attached browser there we need to identify, right? Here it will automatically take. Now we need to do the typing too. So the same. If you see the browser properties also, right, it is very much similar to what we have in the UiPath Studio modern design. The properties, everything like so even this open, close, right? These options also available in the same in the Studio Modern Design or UI automation. So the input modes will be like Chromium API or Simulate. Like it's Simulate is similar to like what we have in the UiPath Studio Simulate type. So now we just need to indicate on which element we want to do the input. Yeah, so it depends. See, all these input methods will be completely dependent on the target application, the way they develop that application. So we just need to select the suitable method to interact with those applications. There is no concept of hardware events in the Studio Web. So once we start the execution of this process, right, then we'll come to know. So once I select this name only, right, for one field, let me execute that and let us see, and then we can continue with the other fields.
Script in background, like the target element in background. You want to interact with the text box, you can just directly do it and set that value. Correct? So one is Simulate and one is Chrome API. Chromium API is something that is linked with your Chrome browser. Okay. So using that, it will interact with that element and get your action done. So that is something, what do I say, like kind of a replica of your sending windows and before. But it will be not that fast as soon.
So we just need to identify this field. You see this, right? Identification also going similar to how we are doing in the modern design of UiPath Studio. And we just need to identify the anchor. So there in the UiPath Studio, if you want to input any text, we need to put that in the double quotes, right? But here we can just directly give the value also. Else we can use the variables. So if we hit control space or like we can hit on this plus button or we can select. So I just want to put the vendor name. So let us execute this and see like how it is going. And let me run step by step instead of going. Now we got the console here. Because in previous execution, we didn't got the console because we don't have any UI interactions to see how it is going and all. But now we got the console as well. And let us execute step by step. Yes. So now it opened the form in the console. And we can see that in a new tab. So here is the form. And we can even take the control of this machine and we can see also. Like we can do manually whatever we want to do. Sorry?
Other way we can exit from the
Yeah.
directly it will automate.
Yes, yes. So no, if you want to see like in case like let us suppose there is some error occurred on your process when you are executing and you want to really check like what actually happening on through that process when it is interacting with the UIs. So we can just take this and we can do go with this.
But when the captures, right, or some OTPs that gets into your mobile, so in that case, you can't, you want to take the control from the robot and do that action. After that, you want to pass the control back to the robot. Correct? It's also can happen. And if you want validate some information from the document extraction, right? That can also be done. There are multiple ways as per you.
So once we have done all the things like what we want to do, and we can just click on exit in order to come out of that control. And let us execute this, type into. So the name is typed. So now it has got executed and now it is trying to close and the form is not completely filled. That's the reason for which we got this pop-up. So let me click on leave. So this is how like the UI interactions can happen with the UiPath Studio Web. So let us go ahead and like put all the information and see like we'll click on submit and we'll see like how it is getting reflected also. And you asked right for debugging, right? So let us do that as well. So what I want to do is I'll just put a breakpoint here. I closed all which tab? This one? Okay. I close the tab. So now it got paused with the breakpoint. Now we just need to go in the next step. Now it opened the form. So the input is complete. See, the similar to how our robot is interacting with our web browsers, right? In the similar way, in that VM instance or virtual instance, it is interacting with that. But the method of interaction is different. Yeah.
See the selector. Scroll.
Yeah. So it's very much similar to what we have in the studio.
It is identifying that element and then interacting with how your normal studio or robot. It's kind of if you have heard about picture-in-picture mode, right? It's doing the same. Like it's creating a virtual instance of your robot. It is opening a different session altogether and doing all your actions, whatever you have given. Trying to create a separate instance and within that instance, trying to open that application. Correct.
Yes.
Correct. So it's like when you're login only, it is creating an instance and then getting that work done. Like over here in picture, it takes the user login session. Correct. Over here, it takes the session of your browser.
So it will be putting it here, right? In the logs itself, it is going to do.
The local panel.
Locals panel, right? So probably I need to explore that. Yeah, here is the open watch panel. Wait a minute. Variables and arguments created, and I think here it will be.
Watch panel, kind of an immediate panel or the watch panel that we have.
Yeah, here is that. So from here watch panel, we can see that. Design time, right? Like if we are running it and we can see that here. Let me run to that and let us go to the breakpoint and we'll see that.
Is there an option like recording the actions which are doing in the website, right? Is there any option to record so that we can save?
So you are asking similar to recordings in UiPath Studio, right? No. Maybe we can write. See, what we can do is like we have multiple forums to give the feedback or like to suggest something what you want. like either from the studio feedback button or forum or UiPath Insider. We can ask for that. Like if possible, if they are already having in their roadmap, they will tell us that like it is already planned or something. Or in case if they like that idea, they will consider that to their roadmap. So we can always give that feedback.
They're still in the beginning phase,
Yeah.
where we are working on the connectors for all
See
the.
here. So now I didn't give that. I already added this vendor name previously to the watch panel. Now it is giving the value of it. Let me stop this. It is not working because I closed that tab. One thing is, let me just showcase one thing, which I really got shocked after seeing that. Just adding a sample field. Refresh this. I have this sample, right? So I'll just identify this sample. So now we don't have any error, right? Just deleted the same field again. Yes, it is possible.
Your custom builder, you have
I'll just show you here. I'll just show you here directly. So you can create a connector here, add connector, and here we have an option, custom builder. So once we create the custom connector over there, we can utilize this custom builder to work with that connector. Where the API is exposed. API, let me go to the documentation as well. I think we have.
You have some internal portal which is kind of a replica of Jira, right? And if you want to build a connector to it, all you need to make sure is you have APIs exposed for that application and all the login authentication and the necessary APIs.
You can build your custom connector here. So there is an example from pet store, I guess, here. From API definition or from blank connector, we can start building our own connectors. We need to build a connector and we just need to publish it here in the integration service so that we can utilize that in the Studio Web. So now I'm not executing this. Let me refresh this. It should show the validation error here. Yesterday it showed the like as soon as I deleted some field, right? Before it is getting reflected into the web page itself, it is showing the error. Yeah, validation error. Yeah, we'll see. We'll just keep this side. So use variable. So before to fill all the other fields, right? I just want to directly jump into the invoice date, like the date, like how we can do the date conversion and all. Like we'll see that, and so that like we can skip other fields, like because in the similar way we will be identifying all the fields, and we are going to click on submit. So let us go with the date. So let me just show you the whatever we downloaded just now, right? The invoice date. So the date is in this format: year, month, and date, right? So now I want to convert this to date, month, and year and input into that field, like because we have in a different format. So I just want to do the conversion. So any guess, guys, like which programming methods we will be using in this? Any guess? Sorry, same. Though it is moved to the browser, we will be using the same. So here I just need to input the conversion of the date, right? So we'll use the date time dot parse exact. So we just need to put the value also. So we'll be taking this extract document data, date, it's in YY hyphen. Whatever the format we want to give, we will be giving that. See, the date is converted to our desired format. We'll go into the select not found exception. Sorry.
So we can put that we are not showing.
So we got the exception. So let us click on submit and we'll see like how the data is getting reflected into the Google form. So we'll use the click activity. Right, so it has circulated all over, so everybody will use it. Thank you. So if we see the click activity, right? So everything is similar to what we have in the studio, like type of button or click. So whatever we want to select, like and the additional properties also, like similar to what we have in the studio. Let's execute this and we'll see. As of now, we don't have any responses to this form. So the execution is completed, and let us go ahead and see the form. So we got one response here. So this is how like we can work with the Studio Web to interact with different applications like web applications or cloud platforms. So they, and so like in case if you so just wanna repeat the same thing, like in case if you wanna build. Yes, sir. They are missing. Hope everybody will feel this. Okay. Everybody. Okay, thank you. So like similar to the custom activities, like we can build our own custom connectors to the Studio Web, and like we have a clear cut sample, like with the data also, like using a Swagger. So they explained like how we can build our custom connector to the pet store and how we can publish it and how we can use the same custom connector in the Studio Web. Yes, it was, no, directly we are considering that to the input variable and like we are just directly taking into that. No. Exceptions will work. We have catch connectors. It's a good question. Yeah, we have an Excel. We have an Excel web also in our Outlook. How it will take the Excel? One second. I cannot answer 10 questions in a single go, right? So we have a try catch. See, the control flow activities or the loops or activities related to the orchestrator, we will be having all the activities here. And the activities which will be missing is like the desktop automation and few are like which are dependent on the OS, like environment variables or environment folders. Look, those are dependent on the system. So other than that, like we will can see all the other activities here. Yeah, manual trigger we selected.
Can we change that later? Like initially we started when an email is
Here
coming.
is that. We can switch to event or we can switch to time trigger. And let us publish this and see like how it is getting reflected in the orchestrator also. And Pramod, you have a question. So we can publish this. Yeah. So the same orchestrator it will be published. Let me publish. When orchestrator. So now I have this process available here. Sorry. See, it is on cloud. Yeah. But as of now, we don't have any clarification that like whether it is available on the on-prem or not because it's not yet made general available. So it's still in the preview and we are not sure about it. Once they release that the enterprise version, then we'll come to know. Suit in the sense. This is the right like this one you are speaking about the automation cloud platform. See, for Studio Web, we are not yet sure about like the offerings and all because it's not yet made public. It's still in the preview and it's available for the community. It's not for the as of now. We don't have anything like we cannot implement that in the enterprise. See, here we don't have any YAMLs. So it's completely on the browser based. So we just need to create multiple processes and we can just put the arguments also in, like we can pass arguments from one process to the other. Individual components built in scope on us.
Replacement of Studio. So it's just an extension of Studio. We just, as in we have this for the basic point, whatever I have mentioned in the start, right? For instead of event, time-based trigger, or if I want to have some UI interactions or API interactions, right? I don't need to consume the normal robot. I can do it with a cloud robot. Correct. Same way, Studio Web is used for that, not for your complex process automations or your what do I say, this workflow invoking whatever we do in Studio, right? We still don't have that much thing over here in Studio Web. If trigger a process, your complex process, right? Which you have built on Studio and should be running on your robot. You can do some event triggers also. But the basic of Studio Web is to have that event trigger enabled. No. Can publish it, the connectors, right? Whatever we have asked before. You can create reusable components in terms of connectors, not in terms of libraries, what we usually do in Studio, like adding two numbers or finding something of that sort can be done.
So maybe, but if you want this feature, right, you can just go to here and you just submit the feedback. For sure, you'll get it. Yeah, of course. See, not only about this. Like, in case if you think that you'll be much more happy or like it will make your development more easy if you can get some other feature. So but it doesn't matter like whether it is really an awesome feature or a minimal basic feature. So we can always raise it to the product team. So they will consider all each and everything. They will go through each and every suggestion in case if they think that like that is going to help to improve their product. Obviously, they'll include in their roadmap. So there is nothing to laugh in that, okay, guys? Yes, yes. So as I said initially, you can click on this import and I don't think because see, normal studio is kind of YAMLs, right? So let us see. It is asking. It is. I think it is allowing us. It's allowing us to do that.
Maybe someone needs to create a connector.
I think. Okay. I need to connect to the same orchestrator. There is start job in activity, right, in UiPath. So we can use that activity. There in that. Here I just need to we just need to explore all the packages. Like we have multiple packages here. So we just need to go to activities and like see it will be very similar way like how we have in the studio, like how we are searching with the keywords, right? In the similar way, we'll be searching with those keywords and we can do that. And Pramod, I triggered the process from here from the orchestrator, but I think I don't have the yeah, it has got executed successfully. View logs. Because we didn't use any log messages in between. Yeah. So in case if you have that, we can. No, I removed it, right? Like for the extraction result, like when we are doing that.
In the form response.
And I'm just adding one more point to like what Sudhir said, right? Event-based triggers. So even though we have a processes which are developed in Studio, we can start those processes from the orchestrator based on some event with the help of integration service. Integration services. Let me come to integration services. So we can come to triggers. See here, like see this process I triggered based on some event happened in the Bamboo HR. Yeah, yeah. If the employee status is terminated, then this process will be started. I think this integration service is already available in the enterprise. See, is the Studio web is completely like see if you are using Studio and you are building robots, so you need to have your environment, right? You need to install your Studio. You need to install your robot on a virtual machine again.
Infrastructure was related.
Yeah, it's a zero, completely zero, no zero infrastructure when we are coming to Studio Web. The only thing what you need to have is like you just need to install one browser. Mm,
Maybe
I'm not sure. Like, but what you can do is like you can try it out because it will be having a version, browser versions, and like you need to have the browser extensions. So these dependencies you'll be having, right? So when I'm speaking about that, it is dependent on mission, like irrespective of the operating system. Yes, we have. So you want to read the text from the Excel or from the spreadsheets? You are saying that. So I think as of now, I don't think like we have that as of now. See, we have the Google Suite integration, but it is for moving files and working with the files or like working with the mails and all these things. But um, reading, we don't have. Yeah, it is reading for the emails, not a reader or something. See, when we are working with the studio web, right, we always need to consider that we are making an API call and the response we are going to get in a JSON format. So there might be a possibility because I saw somewhere like we can even read from the sheets using API calls, right, for spreadsheets and all. So we can try building our own custom connector or like to do that. So we just need to explore all these things. Even this is very new for me as well. Yeah. Scope activity.
Excel. She's asking, do we have the Excel scope activity?
In this you are saying, see, we won't be having any desktop application based activities here. We are not going, as of now, we don't have any desktop application based activities. Mhm. No, no. Let us see. Like you're saying about the Google suite, right? See, we are having something to work on that cloud platform, like working with emails and moving the files or copying the files and all. But for now, we don't have any read option available. For that, you need to have an option to read and write, right? Yeah, that option is available. Yeah. No, no, not reading. Like downloading the files and from the local to upload to a portal, that is available. సో బ్రో అక్కడ ఇందాక 10 క్వశ్చన్స్ ఎన్నో ట్రిగర్ చేశారు. సో ఒక క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్ చేస్తాను నేను. ఇందాక మీరు క్వశ్చన్స్ చాలా అడిగారు, ఒక క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్ చేయడానికి అయ్యింది. సో నా
Excel members are 360. Office 360. That is what I'm asking.
as of now it is not available, but probably they may bring that because that is a basic thing, as I agree. So they may bring that thing by the time like when they are going GA, general availability. Yeah, it's still in the preview. See, we have the try catch here in the similar way. So let me try type that. So that's what I'm saying. Like other than working with the desktop applications or activities, all the others will be available for you here. So we just need to explore. In case some connectors might be missing to you, but we have a lot of connectors, right? As of now, no. See, we may not get all the features what Studio is having because the Studio, it's almost like 7 years, Sudhir. Sudhir, the Studio released 7 years back, right? 7 or 8. So it's almost 9 years, right? And it is about to release, not yet released, right? So we cannot expect all the features what we have in the Studio to here, right? So of course, when they are coming general availability, they may come up with more and more features. And even now we have a lot of connectors like beyond the expected. Release date. So that Sudhir may need to help with this because he is the person from the product company.
We will release.
See, what I guess is like generally they'll be having 4 and 10 releases, right? They may come up on in 4.
Google Sheet is there.
Yeah. So I think you can try it out under the connection builder. So here we have a connection builder, right? Builder. So we can try this with the Google Sheet connector. So we can work to see these two will work together every time, like the integration service and the studio web, both will work together. And files drive. But still, if you want more than that, then you are always open with this tab. Even if you tell to Sudhir also, he just need to go with this tab. See, he is also similar to what we are doing. He also will do the same like what we are doing. So any more questions, guys?
Right. You see, right now, with your ML package, not with your form or projects that we usually have in Studio. So whatever you have with ML can only be done in or used in Studio. So you know, you already know, right, what things you will be extracting in that. So you just need to configure that. You don't need to taxonomy or anything else.
So just addition to Sudhir, right? So in the taxonomy, we mostly use for what like the classification and extraction, right? Extraction fields are already predefined in our ML model, right? But when it comes to the classification, if we go with the keyword-based classifier in the taxonomy, right? So in the similar way, we can put an if condition here, and we can classify that, and we can call that particular ML model here. Let us suppose like some based on some keywords, if you think it's an invoice, and that if condition, then we will be using that, we'll be calling that invoice model. And in case the condition is matching for receipts, we'll call that receipts model. So we can do with that if condition. So no more questions? Anything on UiPath? It's not like specific to Studio Web. Sudhir, over to you. Here, I think like there is no problem with the MFA when it comes to the Studio Web because we are going with the connectors, right? So in case if you are considering like our Outlook or something, and we will be having the app passwords, we will be using them in order to get this connection established. So there is no problem with the MFA. Just 5 minutes here.